How do I use AI ethically as a coach? It's a question I get asked over and over. So today we're going to address it head on and equip you with all of the knowledge and information that you need to embrace this beautiful AI revolution in your coaching practice. Welcome to Thrive and Serve. I am Colin Scotland, and this podcast is where we focus on how when we step in to that truest, most authentic expression of ourselves, it powerfully amplifies our impact. And today we're talking about the ethics and confidentiality of using AI as a coach. So take a deep breath with me. And let's dive in. The biggest question when I get asked about AI, and I do a lot of speaking and educating around how we can embrace this new technology and use it in our lives, in our businesses to enhance rather than replace. That's a key phrase there. To enhance what it is that we do in service of others, in service of our clients. And AI, confidential, is it safe? Is it okay? Is it ethical? Can I use my client's data? Because we're going to go through some use cases that'll be quite interesting and are literal changes of the game for you as a coach when you implement these things. And they do raise questions. So if, for example, we're going to focus mostly on ChatGPT, or what's called the LLMs, the large language models, these generative AIs. The AIs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, where you go and you put text in, or you upload a PDF or a text document, and then you analyze and interrogate that document with the AI. This is the kind of AI that I'm talking about in this episode. And alongside that, I am a big fan and use Fathom.video to record all of my client sessions. Those client sessions are recorded and transcribed and summarized by an AI. And so in that use case, if we do that, there are so many beautiful ways that you can do that and enhance and enrich the experience that both you and your clients get from your coaching. Again, brings with it questions. So that's the area that we're going to cover today. So just before we do it, why would we want to use this AI in our practice? Why would we even bother bringing this into the mix? Well, let me share a brief story with you. I have been a marketing coach for 10 years now, and I've got a lot of academic background information and experience building marketing strategies and campaigns and all of that. And one of the things that I would always do, and I really enjoyed it actually, I was really good at it, I would sit and do a lot of research around, well, who is your ideal client? And in marketing, we do different types of research, like it's called primary and secondary. So primary research would be actually speaking to the customers, interviewing, surveying, doing all of that kind of stuff. And then secondary would be the research stuff that we would do. Let's get a Mintel report. Let's look at the state of the market. Let's look online at some research documents and papers. And so the sum total of all of that work helps us to create and craft what we call in marketing an avatar, a persona, and this is the epitome of our ideal client, right? A picture of that profile of what an ideal client looks like, which is wonderful. And it's really useful because it then informs everything that you do in marketing. So that process that I spent a lot of time doing, and I got paid to go and be a consultant doing this for brands and organizations, that would take typically around about a month to do, right? In a simple form, it would take about a month, sometimes longer. And enter AI into the mix. The crux of all of that research is, what are the emotional drivers that cause your clients to buy from you? What are they? What are the emotional drivers before they decide to buy? And then what are the emotional drivers after they've purchased and experienced that would cause them to recommend it to their friends and family, recommend you to other people, to shout from the rooftops about how amazing your program, your service, your coaching has been for them? This is the goal. This is the goal of that research. This is the goal of the marketing process. Because when we know these things, we can address them. We can create marketing that speaks to them. And in doing that, we grow our business and we grow our impact because we serve more people. Can you see? Right? So enter AI into the mix, and that thing that would have took me over a month, I'm now able to do in minutes. Literally minutes. So we type into ChatGPT, for example, what I call our power positioning statement. I am A, I help B, to do C with D. Who you are, who you help, how you help them, and what you help them with. And then ask ChatGPT to extrapolate, to suggest the emotional triggers behind all of those points that we've just spoken about. And I'm getting better at that voice. ChatGPT will bring and provide with you insights that you could barely get to the level with a month's worth of work in the olden way of doing it. So there's a real life example where I am saving a month of work and doing that month's worth of work in minutes with AI. And I've tested the output, right? So you go, oh yeah, but isn't it just making it up? Is it not hallucinating? The outputs are spectacularly accurate. So I've done this exercise with highly experienced individuals, people at the pinnacle of their game, people who've been in their field for 30 years, 40 years, who know everything that there is to know about their audience and their field. And when we go through my process, they're like, like literally putting their hands on their head going, wow, I've been in this business for X number of years. That is frighteningly accurate. So it works. I know it works because I've seen the process right the way through. This is why we're bringing AI in, because the change is inevitable regardless of that. But there's just such opportunity. If you have a heart to serve, there is such opportunity to serve, to go further, faster, deeper, bigger, better, cheaper in everything that you do in your business, in your practice. Okay? There are so many opportunities afforded to you with the rise of this new AI technology now. And it's up to you to embrace that and to seize that with both hands. Okay. So many use cases for coaches, specifically brainstorming session ideas with clients, summarizing your client notes. Like we've just spoken about with Fathom earlier, take a transcript of your client call, have Fathom create that. So for one, your client will get an instant summary. Here's everything that you talked about. Here are the key takeaways. Here are the key topics. Here are the action points that you agreed to in the session. So all of that, as a coach, I would do all of that manually. I would be typing away, trying to actively listen and typing away in my notes, and then summarizing the notes and then sharing the notes with a client. All of that takes time and takes you away from the client transformation. So enter Fathom and AI into the mix, and now that's taken away. Now all of your focus can be on the client transformation. You can more actively listen because you're less concerned with capturing everything that they say in detail. Can you see? And so with that, is it safe? Is it confidential? Is it ethical to do this? Because of course we have a moral, ethical, legal responsibility to our clients. Of course we do. As coaches with integrity, it's imperative that we protect their data, that we manage the relationship with full integrity and in accordance with privacy law. So how do we do that? How on earth do we do that? Okay, I'm going to give you some steps. I'm going to give you a breakdown of how. Top level, consent. So be open and honest about the whole process. So get client consent at the front. Understand what's regarded, what's needed, what's essential when it comes to data privacy. Be open about the confidentiality side of things so that you understand what's going on, the client understands what's going on, and be transparent about that process. So address the concerns the client may have and educate yourself first and foremost. Just on that, when I used to lecture in marketing, we would teach a process of analysis of the macro environment, the world around us. And we always taught and were taught that it's, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, it's essential that you have sight of what's going on in the world, because it's in this world that you do your business. It sits in the context of your economy, your government, your environment on a big scale, a macro scale. And we used to teach what's called a pest analysis. There are lots of different ways and formats for this acronym, but PET, STEP, STEEPLE, or PESTLE, all kinds of ones. But we used to call it PEST. And essentially it means that you scan the environment and look at political, economic, social, technological changes, advancements, movements, trends in the context with which you do business, because they have sometimes a direct and other times an indirect impact on how you can conduct your business. They are the circumstances in which, right? They are the scenery within which you paint the picture of your business. So it's important for you to have a handle on what these things are. And if we just, AI sits in the technological change. So being aware of this change that's coming and understanding the impact it's going to have, but also the political, legal, the P part, the understanding of laws that come in for data privacy, data use. How and where can I use my client data? What are the limitations of the software that I'm using, the technological advancements, and how does that apply to my clients? So all of this plays its part, and it's stuff that you really need to elevate your awareness of so that you can be competent and confident that you are managing your client data with integrity and embracing this tsunami wave of new technology that allows you to do months worth of work in minutes. So let's talk about the core ethical considerations. The first one is consent. And it's really important that you have informed consent with your clients. So when I am having my first sessions with clients and explaining how our coaching process is going to play out, part of that discussion is to address and acknowledge that I use Fathom.video in all of my sessions. Sessions are recorded, they are transcribed using AI, they are summarized using AI, and Fathom has its own, and this is for you to look at, right? Depending on the use cases, the softwares, the technologies that you're using, Fathom has its own privacy settings and data and policy, and it sets out exactly how that data is used and how it's encrypted, how it's kept safe and not. This is a myth, right? Most people think everything you put in AI is used by AI beyond what happens with you. It's not always the case. Sometimes it may be, but not always. If you're on a paid account, for example, with something like ChatGPT, then it's not used. Your chats are not used to train the AI. That's a misconception. I think, I may be wrong, but I think when you're on the free accounts with this stuff, there are situations and circumstances where your data may be at risk. And so this is on you. This is on you to know and to check that and to be diligent in what you do. Just like you wouldn't go around shouting your credit card and social security numbers out in public, you'd be as mindful when you're acting with this technology. Doesn't mean you can't use it. You've just got to be sensible and have that filter of understanding. Okay. And that begins with client consent. So in my coaching, I have a coaching contract, and that coaching contract sets out expectations, how we work together, how the coaching agreement's going to play out, and what's expected of me, what's expected of the client. And now AI is included in that contract. Here's how I use AI. I take the transcripts. I also summarize the transcripts with AI inside of a silo, a private data setting, so it's not public. It's not used to train additional AIs. So your data is safe. Your data is confidential. I never put any of your personal data in there, dates of birth, private details, any of that stuff. And that's with intention, right? So can you see how just being intentional about this stuff makes all of the difference? And the client agrees and gives consent, informed consent, because I also use those transcripts. And here's a cool use case for you. Take the Fathom transcript of your client coaching session, drop it into ChatGPT, and ask it to analyze the emotional drivers behind the words that your clients use. AI is a master of deciphering emotional elements around language, because the language, the words, it's something called semantic vectors, right? Every word has weighting and a imagine this vast infinite space, and all words are placed inside of this infinite space. So if we use the word big, large, massive, huge, they're all very similar in what they describe, but they'll have different weightings, different kind of relationships and different settings inside of this vast space. So it's a master at recognizing the patterns inside of all of this and drawing conclusions. What it means for you is you can put a transcript in and you can analyze it and get some astounding results back. This is a symptom and a sign that perhaps this person is struggling with X. Imagine that depth of information to help you coaching people, increasing your impact, increasing the transformation, the depth of the transformation. So up front, I mentioned that these are the kinds of things that I will be doing with the AI. Is that okay? It's only between me and the private analysis that's done inside of the AI. Are you okay with that? So that's the first step. And then privacy, like data privacy, it's important, because we think about that pest analysis, like the political, legal, economic, like there are rules and laws about what you can do with client data. We have GDPR compliance around like how you can use people's data in email, and there's all manner of different things that you need to be aware of and take account of, and take steps to ensure that your client data is never vulnerable either. So what environment and context in which are you coaching, and how are you taking those steps? So have you looked at the privacy policy of ChatGPT or Fathom or any other tool that you're using? If not, check it out. Know for yourself, know firsthand that you can stand in front of a client and say, hey, your data isn't passed into the training model of this AI. I know because I've got the policy here. Do you want to see it? Okay. You are informed, and therefore you can inform the client. And that moves us on to the third thing, confidentiality. You can then explain how the AI transcription handles sensitive information and how you are taking steps to ensure the privacy of your client's data. Because sometimes it may be appropriate for there to be some level of manual stuff, right? If you go, okay, well, before I load the transcript into ChatGPT, I want to go through that transcript and just sanitize it and check that there aren't any personal details that I don't want to put into the AI. You may read the privacy settings and understand that, hey, I'm not happy about using this LLM. I'm going to use this one instead for this specific use case. So having an intentional approach and ensuring that both you and your clients are informed is critical. And that leads us to the fourth point here of transparency. Being open and upfront with your clients about how you are using AI. Address the concerns head on. How are we going to use AI in our relationship? I'm a transformational AI coach, so it's inevitable that we're going to use AI in our sessions. And yet I still make a point of having it in the client coach agreement and saying in those precursor sessions before we start, I'm using Fathom here to do this. I'm using this to do this. I'm using this to do this. And all of the ways that I use AI are explained both verbally and in writing. So the client is informed and they know exactly how and where we're going to use this software, this technology. The thing to understand is that this AI, what we've spoken about today, it's in no means a replacement for you as a coach. It is very much the AI being an enhancer, a way of you accelerating at speed the impact you can have and taking what you do to a bigger audience. That's what AI allows you to do here. And so in that, understanding and awareness of best practice, ethical use, using it with integrity, you intentionally going and learning what those best practices around client consent, data privacy, confidentiality, transparency, they're your scaffold, your benchmark for going and applying AI in your coaching practice with your coaching clients now. Different if you go and use ChatGPT to help you write an email or create your coaching program, which you absolutely can do. I'm talking now about the actual client relationship of using client data with the help of AI. So you need to be critical in your thinking. You need to look at the way that you're using AI and mindful of how you're using and protecting the client's data. Remember, AI does not replace you as a coach. And I've said this a few times already today. It is the enhancer of what you do. So just like that story I shared with you at the beginning, where I would spend a month or more in the client research phase, now I'm spending minutes. You too can find and achieve those same efficiencies in your coaching, in creating personalized coaching plans for your clients with the consent, right? You're doing it ethically now inside of the bounds of confidentiality, privacy, and ethics, moral, ethical use of AI. I am going to put your details into this AI and I'm going to use it to tailor what we do together. Is that okay? Yes, please. The results will be better than what I would do on my own. And I'm open about that, right? I'm good at this marketing stuff and I would spend a month doing this. What I'm getting out of AI in 10 minutes is better than what I would have done in a month. And I don't mind admitting it. I'll admit it openly because look, we can do better work faster, further, faster, deeper, remember? Okay. So be upfront, be human about this, be open about this and emphasize that just exactly that you are enhancing, enriching, and deepening this experience for them with the help of AI. This is just a new part of the landscape, that political, legal, economic, social, technical landscape within which we do our business. You need to be intentional, you need to be informed, and you need to continuously scan, monitor, and look to that external environment. As laws come into place, as the political economic situations change, as the technology itself advances. You need to stay up to date with it so that you know what's possible and how you can best serve your clients. If you show up like that, ethics, check. Confidentiality, check. Privacy, check. Best for my clients, check. That is how you use and embrace AI ethically as a coach. Thank you so much for joining me today on Thrive and Serve. I'm Colin Scotland. If you found this content helpful, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And my goal for you is that you get to show up as you in your business. And when you do that, something magical happens. When we show up as our most authentic self, it powerfully amplifies our impact. Go let your light shine in the world, and I'll see you next time.